dear Denis Machuel, dear distinguished representatives of our people innovation ecosystem, dear colleagues, dear students, esteemed guests, it is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the 5th edition of the lecture series on leadership in the future of work, organized by the Center for Leadership in the Future of Work here at the University of Zurich. We all know the dialogue between academia, business, government, and society is highly important. It is our pleasure and honor to discuss important issues with the representatives of our innovation ecosystem. And just as a reminder, the purpose of this lecture series is to promote this ecosystem of stakeholders who are called upon to shape the transformation of our global work environments in a responsible manner. And this at a time when the effects of especially artificial intelligence are still unclear, but are already changing at this very moment. Here at the University of Zurich, we want to co-create a more human future of work. Tonight, we are especially delighted to host Mr. Denis Machuel, CEO of the Adecco Group, as our keynote speaker. Under his leadership, the Adecco Group has pioneered projects that put people at the center of technological change, advancing a vision of work that is not only more innovative, but also more human. And beyond that, the Adecco Group has been a fantastic partner to both the University of Zurich and the Center for Leadership in the Future of Work. Thanks to their funding and ongoing support, the center has become a globally recognized powerhouse, so to say, for the future of work research and has pushed a human-centered research and education agenda. Tonight, by bringing together scholars, practitioners, students, and thought leaders from a wide array of sectors, we hope to foster collaboration and inspire further action. And action is needed. Your presence here speaks volumes about the importance of leadership in building a forward-thinking future of work. And now, we will have a video first, and then Jochen Menges will say a few words about the Center for Leadership in the Future of Work, about our program tonight, and most importantly, our distinguished guest, Denis Machuel. So, thank you all for your attention, and thank you all for being part of this conversation and making a human-centered future of work. Thank you.
The University of Zurich's Center for Leadership in the Future of Work is the beating heart of the world's first people innovation ecosystem. We bring various stakeholders across society together around one common purpose: to shape a more human future of work. We do this through 3 core activities that mutually reinforce each other: discover, inspire, and shape.
Our research explores how people can be lifted up to feel and do their best at work.
Across our research, we use rigorous scientific methods and state-of-the-art technology.
We are connected across the world to bring scholars together to study the human side of the future of work.
We inspire current and future leaders to prepare themselves and their organizations for a changing world of work.
Our innovative learning journeys equip leaders with specific expertise in the human aspects of the future of work.
Our evidence-based leadership development programs have been globally recognized as among the best in the world.
We bring together business and stakeholders across society to address people's challenges in collaboration.
And so we ignite an entire people innovation ecosystem to incubate human-centered solutions for the future of work.
We don't want to wait for the future of work to just happen to us. We proactively want to shape it. As part of our efforts to bring people together to build a better future of work, we welcome you tonight to the University of Zurich's lecture series on leadership in the future of work. Thank you for joining us tonight, and let's lead the future together.
So, from the big screen to the small podium, very warm welcome. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Denis Machuel. Thank you very much for being with us here tonight. Good evening, Gabriele Siegert. Good evening, Harald Gall. Good evening, my dear colleagues, my dear students, our esteemed guests here in the Grand Aula of the University of Zurich and around the world in our live stream where we broadcast this lecture. It is with great delight that I welcome you all to this fifth lecture on leadership in the future of work. And I think, what I sense seeing you all here is that there is a shared curiosity around the question of how our future will unfold at this pivotal moment in our time and how we can prepare for it, best prepare for it, as individuals, as organizations, and as society. Now, my task tonight here is to do three quick things. One is to show you an overview of the program and give you orientation as to where we go. Then to reflect just for a moment on that partnership that the Center for Leadership in the Future of Work holds with the Adecco Group. And then most importantly, to introduce our guest of honor, Denis Machuel, CEO of the Adecco Group. So first, the overview, and I think you see here the slide. It shows that we will start very soon with the lecture on the human edge, leadership in the age of AI and transformation. After Denis' talk, we will open the floor for some audience questions. So as you listen, look for what resonates, for what you want to comment on, and perhaps where you still have a question, so that when we do offer the opportunity to ask those questions, please make plenty of use for it. And then finally, we have some closing remarks by Gabriele Siegert, again, followed by a reception downstairs in the Lichthof, where we can continue our conversations in a comfortable setting. Now, if you do need any assistance throughout this evening, please don't hesitate to approach the members of our Center for Leadership in the Future of Work. You'll recognize us by our name tags. Maybe you can all stand up for a moment. Fantastic. Well, thank you all also very much for making this evening possible. Yeah? Quick applause to them. Now, a few words on our partnership very briefly around the collaboration between the Adecco Group and the Center for Leadership in the Future of Work. When we founded this center 5 years ago in 2020, there were already these seismic changes in the world of work. And it was that the Adecco Group back then recognized that more research and innovation was needed in this space. But they didn't just recognize it, they actually acted on it. And so thanks to their support, we actually created the Center for Leadership in the Future of Work here at the University of Zurich as a nucleus of a broader people innovation ecosystem rooted here at home in Zurich, the Adecco Group's home city, but with global reach. Now, this year, we're celebrating our 5th anniversary. And when I look back on those last 5 years, I can tell you we've been on a bit of a wild ride, actually. If you think about it, we've had a global pandemic and a well-being crisis. We had the Great Resignation and quiet quitting. We had the permission and then restrictions for remote work. We had the rise and fall of the metaverse. We had the blockchain for HR. We had the shifting, and are currently still having the shifting focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And now, of course, we have the transformative potential of AI. Back in 2020, when we founded the center, we surely did not anticipate all that. And I wonder what we will say in 2030 when we look back on that next 5-year period. But throughout all these disruptions, what we remained steadfast in our vision on at the center was a human-centric future of work. And this idea that there is a red thread across all of that, and that is that our human needs need to come first. Over these 5 years, we've delivered quite a bit. We produced over 100 research publications, 160 events, 8,000 students and executives that were taught, tens of thousands of social media likes. But what's more important than these numbers, and I think every one of you in this room here speaks to that fact, is that each business leader, each scholar, each student, each journalist that read our work, has heard us speak, liked our posts, I think has taken a moment to at least reflect on the future of work and to think of where are we heading? How am I going to prepare for this? And maybe they found their voice in what I believe should be a global dialogue on the question of what is a human-centric future of work, especially in times of AI. For us, a human-centric future of work is that you start with the question of what future we humans want. And only then, second, ask the question of how can technology, be it the metaverse, or AI, or automation, or blockchain, serve that purpose, right? Serve that. And that's decidedly different from a technology-centric perspective that would, for instance, ask, what can AI do? And then inevitably, the second question is, what will be left for us humans to do? Now, I'm under no illusions that the power of technologies and the enormous appeal of what we call the tech-dominated visions of the future of work are here to stay and are gaining in appeal, both the utopian ones and the dystopian ones. And frankly, I also believe that the human-centric perspective is increasingly being challenged. And do we have all the answers to address these challenges? I guess the answer is no, we don't. But perhaps that's precisely the reason why we need more research, more community building, more incubation of ideas, more entrepreneurship, more innovation on that human side of the future of work. And just let me be clear, without the support of the Adecco Group, we would not be here. There would be no such dialogue as we're having tonight. There would be no community like this one. There would be no research ecosystem advancing the human-centric side of the future of work, and there would be no center for leadership in the future of work. So I do want to take this moment, this opportunity, to say on behalf of the University of Zurich and from the bottom of my heart, thank you to Denis Machuel for your support, and thank you to everyone from the Adecco Group for your vision and commitment. Thank you. And now comes the moment you've all been waiting for, and that is the introduction of our very guest of honor, our distinguished speaker, Denis Machuel, CEO of the Adecco Group. Now, Denis has led the Adecco Group since 2022, guided by a clear and inspiring purpose to make the future work for everyone. Under his leadership, the group supports more than 100,000 companies and enables over 3.5 million careers every year. Before joining Adecco, Denis already had a group CEO role at Sodexo, where he shaped the company's digital strategy and global business units. And earlier in your career, Denis spent 16 years with Altran, which is now part of Capgemini. Beyond corporate leadership, Denis Machuel is an active voice in that global dialogue about the future of work, including through the World Economic Forum. And not long ago, I have seen him speak at the China-Europe Talent Forum, arguing passionately that AI can and must broaden opportunity, advocating that technology must ultimately serve humanity. And indeed, the Adecco Group has recently completed one of the first scaled implementations of AI agents across its brand portfolio, embedding AI into talent and workforce solutions. But on a more personal note, and this is my final page, on a more personal note, I have come to know Denis as an enormously successful business leader with a laser focus, and also as a truly human, truly inspiring leader, someone who leads with purpose, with mindfulness, with optimism. The very qualities that I'm trying to teach the current leaders in our executive education programs and our future leaders that are students here at this university. And so, Denis, I think you're exemplifying a type of leadership that we need a lot more of in business and beyond, and we're all keen to learn from you tonight. I have to tell you that you have entered these classrooms before through the stories I've been telling about your exemplary leadership. But tonight he is here in person. Thank you very much, Denis Machuel. He will speak to us on the human edge leadership in the age of AI and transformation. Very warm welcome.
All right.
This should be the sound.
Thank you. It's not easy to start after these words, Jochen. But thanks anyway. So, good evening, everyone. Dear Dr. Gabriele Sigurd, dear Jochen, dear Professor Gal, and dear all of you, leaders and future leaders. It's great to be with you tonight. It's definitely humbling. And I must say, I'm probably not the only one to say to the audience that I'm quite impressed to speak in front of you in such an incredible and beautiful conference hall. And to add my contribution, my modest contribution to this long list of prestigious speakers that have over history stood here on that stage. And I'm very grateful to the University of Zurich, very grateful to you, Jochen. You were also at the China-Europe Talent Forum, and you delivered a great address. Thank you for that. And grateful to the Center for Leadership for the Future of Work for this opportunity to exchange with you, because yes, I'm going to talk, but what matters most, I think, is the exchange that we're going to have afterwards, because we grow, we learn from each other by the communication, by being together. So, as I was preparing for this speech, there was a few questions that came to my mind. As you know, and it's here, you know, when Winston Churchill was here, would have he imagined 80 years after his address that we would be speaking today about artificial intelligence and how AI could possibly replace humans in many ways? Could you imagine that we would be even speaking about the possibility of artificial general intelligence, AGI? And let's now imagine how or what this room would look like 80 years from now. Would we have humanoid robots sitting next to our great-grandchildren in this room? Will humans still be humans? Or would they be augmented to such extent that their cortex would be connected to the cloud, as Ray Kurzweil was telling us 10 years ago? And what would be the topic of this lecture? Who would be talking, by the way? Right? So, Nobody knows. But what we believe at the Adecco Group is we all have a collective responsibility to actively manage how we want to see the future happening. It's up to us collectively to create the future that we want to experience. And this particularly speaks to leadership. Leaders of all kinds, in the public sector, in the private sector, leaders in the political world, in academia or research, we all have indeed a big responsibility to anticipate the massive and incredibly fast changes that AI is triggering, particularly in the world of work. For this, we need to understand what is happening now and be determined to act accordingly. At the Adecco Group, we strongly believe that AI in the workplace, when addressed with, as you said, people at the heart, can be a powerful bridge to opportunity. Our purpose is to make the future work for everyone. This is a beautiful purpose. I always say to the teams, is there anything, we are a people company, is there any bigger purpose, more magnificent purpose than to take care of people and to ensure that people have hope in the future? So our wish is to make the power of AI accessible to everyone, ensuring that no one is left behind. And this is a big challenge. Our world has proven its incredible capacity to leave people behind. So it's time to change that. That means supporting individuals and organizations to have the agility needed to thrive in this new paradigm where people and AI work side by side. So today I'm going to share a few data points of our research that support the optimism that we have at the Adecco Group. And I'll be particularly sharing some data that comes from our latest annual research report, which is called Humanity at Work, How to Thrive in the Age of AI. And we're going to launch this report next week. We've surveyed 37,000 workers across 31 countries and 21 industries. So a pretty good sample of what working people think about and feel about AI. And the results, you're going to see, the result supports our optimistic outlook and gives us really great insight of what can happen, and also what to do next to ensure a human-centric AI development that creates value for people and society. Let me share a striking statistic. Last year, in our last survey, 18% of people, workers, said, "Nothing holds me back from using AI more." This has reached 71% now. So definitely the train has left the station. However, we know that AI will massively disrupt the organization of work. We know that. It automates tasks. It analyzes vast amounts of data. It optimizes and predicts. It can give sometimes incredible insights. It can also create hallucinations. It can create content. It can develop software. And AI agents, you've probably heard of that, they go even further, as they can be goal-oriented, they can make decisions, and they act autonomously. So we have to imagine a future, in the very near future, when the labor force will be a combination of human workers and AI agents, acting as digital colleagues with their own goals and their own ways of working. We are today the first generation of leaders who need to think about our teams in terms of digital agents and people, all working together in harmony. This is a profound shift. So it is a true leadership moment. Getting the balance right between humans and AI in the workplace definitely means involving employees in the journey, not just as technology adopters, but as co-creators of the future of work. This is our responsibility as leaders. And let me share, from our perspective, 3 imperatives to help us ensure that we retain the human edge that you were mentioning, Jochen, and to unlock AI as a bridge to opportunity. 3 imperatives. 1, sharpen the human edge. 2, sharpen skills. And 3, ensure and measure impact. And let me start with the first imperative, sharpen the human edge. Our business leaders research that I was mentioning shows that only 10% of companies have a people and talent strategy that is aligned with AI implementation. This is scary. That means 90% of companies are implementing technology without the human element at the core. And that disconnect is scary. Because we believe that companies will continue to have people, right? We don't believe in people-less company. So we believe that companies have to deliberately take a human-first approach to navigate the disruption of AI. And this is key to unlock the potential of humans and the potential of AI. Because we believe that AI can make humans more human. And it's from this belief that we determine our future. So this is pushing us, actually, to really reflect on what makes us really humans compared to what a machine can do. This reflection is not new, of course. It has started way before the Industrial Revolution. What is the machine doing? What are humans doing? But the capability of AI and its incredibly rapid evolution are pushing that reflection to new heights. What can AI do? You asked the question, Jochen. AI can do a lot of tasks, and more increasingly well. AI agents are now executing multi-step workflows. They can even be orchestrated, which means multiple agents acting together in autonomy to achieve several goals. AI, as you know, has almost an unlimited memory. So, can we imagine an AI CEO? Possibly. Would that CEO be as good as a human? Not sure. I hope not. Especially if we consider that CEOs' competences go far beyond making smart decisions. Leading means providing a vision that speaks to the emotions of the teams you lead, bringing people along, generating engagement, interacting with customers, developing a company culture, way beyond only making smart decisions, of course. So, faced with this unstoppable wave of AI progress, we as humans have to sharpen the qualities and the capabilities that make us real humans. This is what we've got to do. Exercise proper judgments. Ensure that questions of ethics are not left on the side. And by the way, is there anything more human than ethics? Also, think critically, engage with people, empathize, support, coach, stimulate curiosity, develop creativity beyond or complementary to what AI can already do in creativity. Provide meaning, make people feel what we want them to feel. And fundamentally, create trust. I believe that one of the biggest threats that we have that we face in our society is to lose trust. It is to lose the power of distinguishing what is true from what is false, We see that in many ways. In the manipulation of images, in the way news are brought to us, in all sorts of ways. And trust is the fundamental base of a society. When trust is lost, societies collapse. So leaders in the era of AI have a big responsibility to find the ways to protect trust, to enhance trust in their environments, with the people they work with, in all the dimensions of their actions and interactions. At the Adecco Group, we have created a responsible AI committee very early on, and not led by legal or IT, but by our sustainability team. Of 5 principles, 4 are human-centric. We ask ourselves, are AI decisions aligned with our values and purpose? Are decisions human-centric? Are we clear about how and when we use and not use AI? And of course, do we have a robust security and privacy protection? In a nutshell, about the human sharpening the human edge. In a nutshell, all good types of governance ensure that a power has a counterpower. Humans, in particular leaders, have a big responsibility to exercise their counterpower to AI. This means sharpen our human edge. We all need to work on this. We need to be prepared, and hence our second imperative, which is reskill and redeploy. And let me start with a reality check, as the pace of disruption is unprecedented. A World Economic Forum report on skills earlier this year projected that 44% of workers need deep reskilling within the next 5 years. 44 workers in the world need deep reskilling in 5 years. This means billions of people, which is a massive endeavor, considering that when the internet came in, it reshaped 25% to 30% of the workers over a 15-year period. Not the same scale now. And you've probably heard this famous quote, AI won't replace you, you will be replaced by people who know how to use AI. So, at the same time, our research tells us that these 35,000 workers, out of them 71% already feel that their own AI knowledge goes beyond the skills that are offered by their employer. So businesses have to catch up on this. This is why rigorous training and skills plans matter. In our own company, we've built more than 760 hours of learning on AI in 4 phases, from the basics for all colleagues to those who need to champion what we do internally and with clients, to those who are building and scaling AI, and then another course specifically for leaders. But it's not only about technical training. We're investing in learning and development, particularly around coaching and critical thinking, navigating ethics. And as well as up in reskilling, there's a need to think about career pathways and workforce redesign. Too many organizations restructure without reskilling or redeployment. We've seen tech companies, and not only tech companies, by the way, roll out restructuring programs due to AI, and then scramble to rehire when job cuts led to critical service gaps. So, what we do is we actively work with clients on career transition programs. We look to minimize redundancies through skilling and redeployment programs. What's interesting, we've done a recent study with our career transition company, LHH. It's one of the companies of the group. And that research said that 58% of displaced workers say that they are pivoting to entirely new job families They are reinventing their professional life. So reinvention is real, and employers need to put energy into strategic workforce management to save the human and the financial cost of only cutting jobs. So to help that, we've actually launched a joint venture with Salesforce called Our Potential, which is going to be presented next week at Dreamforce, the big Salesforce event. And Our Potential draws on billions of data from resumes and job descriptions and legal regulations across the world, job architectures, skills libraries, etc. And the purpose is to guide the C-suite towards making the right decision around strategic workforce management. Because CEOs, and there are many CEOs I talk to, they're just lost in translation. So when you're lost, what do? You do tactical things. And then that's when you do tactical things that you fire people that you need to rehire afterwards. So the more you anticipate, the less people will be left behind. So skills are the new currency in the world of work. So to be ready, organizations need to align training and redeployment as part of their workforce strategy, and their digital transformation needs to be managed strategically, and the technology roadmap and strategy needs to be aligned with the people strategy. This is critical. Now, my third and last imperative, is to ensure and measure impact. So impact, the best example is a recent MIT study, you might have seen that shows that 95% of enterprise GenAI pilots fail to deliver measurable impact. Either they stall, they don't scale, or they don't show financial return. So there is a big question around how do we create value with AI implementation. These past 2 years, there was a lot of hype about, it's going to create incredible things. Well, actually, it's disrupting, but not necessarily creating value. And that's a problem. Because we're talking about business value and human value. So, two important dimensions here. First, people need to understand the impact of the work they do, even today, even without AI, and measuring the business impact. Second, organizations need to measure the impact of AI at scale. And for that, our latest research tells us that only 36% of people tell us that they feel confident that they can measure the impact of their work. And when that impact can be measured, there's an immediate link to stronger purpose and well-being. Right? And this is something that sometimes we forget, how the purpose can feed into your well-being. Workers also told us in this research that when they understand the impact of AI on the work that they do, they are likely to be more engaged. It creates a stronger sense of purpose for them in what they do. So, them understanding the impact. That means we need to shift the conversation from output towards impact in companies, from pure productivity gains to better service to clients, from financial optimization to a job that is more enjoyable and more fulfilling because people have been augmented and not replaced. And we have a very concrete example. We've launched agentic AI in the UK to pre-screen candidates when we recruit them. Typically, an AI agent will interact with candidates to start a conversation. So AI is taking up the mundane tasks for the first pre-screening questions, and then it frees the time for recruiters to go more into what's essential, the human-to-human connection with the candidate. recruiters love it. And they find their job more fulfilling, more meaningful. So that also generates better candidate service and better satisfaction rates. So it is possible to augment people, create more enjoyable work environment if you are strategic, if you are intentional about it, about how you deploy AI and understand the context and put the purpose and the humans at the core. So, as a conclusion, you know that the pace of change is not going to slow, and volatility will definitely remain, but we are optimistic at the Adecco Group because we know that human-centric AI can deliver great results. It can free us to enjoy what makes us truly human: connections, creativity, curiosity, empathy. We can't have AI happen to people. It is in our hands, leaders and future leaders, to shape the AI era with humanity. It's now time to set a structured path to invest with agility in skills and to double down on humanity. Because when we invest in people, when we invest in their skills, when we enhance their employability, when they understand the impact on the work that they do, when we show a path of concrete human value creation beyond the pure business value creation, we create business performance. We develop engagement and we develop hope. This is our responsibility as leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Well, thank you very much. I must say I've written, I think, 4 pages of notes. It's been quite an inspiring and informative talk. Thank you. And I sensed a bit of optimism throughout that, maybe, just maybe, we're not all doomed yet. I wanted to pick you up on a point, and I'll invite everybody to speak and ask questions in just a moment. I just have the pleasure of being perhaps the one to open the conversation, but get ready to ask yours in a moment. Now, when you spoke about leadership, you said, we're the first generation that actually will be leaders that will have people and then digital agents, and so we'll have to some sort of mixed teams and so on. And then you referred to qualities of leading humans. That sounded to me also a lot like the qualities that really make great leadership, like vision, engagement, purpose, you named these things. So I just wanted, do you think that leadership is changing, that future leaders need something different? Or is it ultimately has it always been the same, and will it always be the same, right? So,
well, I don't think there is one type of leadership. There are several types of leadership, right? And I'll be maybe blunt. I don't know if there is one good style of leadership and one bad style of leadership. If you consider only the performance, we know that there are companies that I would qualify sometimes with having embedded a very tough leadership, sometimes a toxic leadership, and they perform. So, and then, there's, at the end of the day, it depends on what you want to see happening in the workplace. So, yeah, leadership evolves over time. We've seen, I think, in the past 20 years, and then you have been a big advocate in the Center for Leadership for the Future of Work. You've been a big advocate of a leadership which develops more empathy, which is in a listening mode as much as in a talking mode, which is, a sort of a human, leadership. And we believe in that. And that's also our culture. But is it universal? I don't know. Does it deliver more outstanding performance than many other companies? Possibly, I doubt. And we are currently seeing in the world, a type of leadership that re-emerges on you've got to be strong, you've got to know, right? We see that happening. We believe that the world is too complex to be run by one smart brain that then cascades. I'm a bit caricatural here.
Yeah.
But we believe in collective intelligence, and that, to your question about how it evolves, we believe that the complexity that AI will bring will necessitate much more intelligence, collective intelligence, much more understanding through a variety of points of view, to drive success, to drive performance, to bring people along. And we've got to be careful with the way some archetypes or some old archetypes of leadership are re-emerging today. At least it's our perspective.
That's good to know, and I think something for everyone who is in a leadership role now or will be in the future to make up their mind about, right? I mean, you don't provide an ultimate answer, but you definitely call us to think about it.
Can I give you just one quick example? I was, something that happened to me when I got to know that I would be in my previous role, I would become the CEO of Sodexo. I had been in the company for 10 years, and then one day I'm being told by the chairman and the current CEO that I was going to be the successor. And then I asked, why me? And the first answer was, there was twofold. He said, because we believe that you can create trust with the teams, and because you will dare to say, I don't know.
I see.
And I was struck by that, because the sort of archetype that I was referring to earlier, yes, the sort of old archetype is you have to know. Well, actually, I still feel comfortable to say I don't know. So.
There we go. That's fascinating. Very, very helpful and very inspirational indeed. On the don't knowing part, I have a question for you. I think we're all surrounded by these rapidly advancing technologies, and everybody is trying to keep up and learns about it and so on. But you're a CEO of like a Fortune 500 company. Your days are in and out, booked and full. How do you keep up with these technologies? How do you sort of like learn and exhibit that curiosity that you mentioned in this area of rapid progress?
Well, it's interesting because there's the I don't know and then the I don't understand. And I must say the I don't understand part is taking a big chunk of my time now, because this is complex. I'm an engineer by education. I had a course when I did my master's in the US. I had a course of around artificial intelligence. That was in the 80s. Anyway, not the same, right, as now. But so you've got to dedicate the time. And I've kept, I think I've already been 3 or 4 times this year to the Silicon Valley, just to listen, to talk to people, to understand. We have teams that are dedicated, and I spend time just explain to me what's happening. So being connected to startups, to leaders, to talk to peers. What are you doing? How is it working? You fail. Me too. But you have to dedicate the time. I believe I cannot understand the complexities. I can't understand the impact. I can understand the things that are moving. I try to, at least. And that helps guide, and you've got to also listen to smart people around you who are more advanced. Just don't be afraid to. The number of times I've said, can you repeat again because I did not understand? It's my daily routine.
Very, very helpful. Last question, and then I'm looking to you. You mentioned, of course, the importance of reskilling. And I think we're all keenly aware that no longer will you graduate from this university and be educated for the rest of your life and do one job. But I'm worried that, if you reskill, there is sort of like an expiration date to the reskilling. And sometimes you say at university, if you teach people the latest technologies, by the time that they graduate, it's already changed, right? You already need to say, I don't understand, I don't know. Right? So how do you sort of like see this investment into reskilling with respect to the timeline, or it's maybe in a business where it's sort of like in terms of like the return on investment over time, right? Because it's so quick, right?
Two things here. One, and it's something we advocate a lot, and I don't know if Bettina is around here, Bettina who leads our public affairs, among many other things, so sustainability initiative. We advocate a lot on something which is just an incredible fact. 4% in the OECD countries, 4% of GDP is dedicated to the education up to higher education. So up to whatever you have, 25 or something. 4% of GDP. And then 0.1% of the GDP dedicated to the next 40 years. Does it make sense? Doesn't make sense. It's crazy.
That's right.
To your point.
That's right.
I mean, there's so many things that we need to learn. So that's the first craziness. The second is that if you take a company, it has a P&L, and you have the revenue, yes, and the cost, right? Caricaturing, okay?
Yeah.
But training is considered as a cost to the company and not as an investment. So the training money that you put, it's not in your balance sheet. So you buy a machine, you put it in your balance sheet, and it's an asset. You train your people, just a cost. It's flushed. This is crazy. So, sorry, long answer to your question, but this is something which is which we have to collectively to come together, because it's a combination of probably private companies investing. It's necessary. There are so many things changing. It's necessary, but also the government has to come. I think government money has to come because it produces, impact, positive impact. I'm going to give you and then I shut up. Quick example. We were working together with a European car maker to repurpose, to reskill people from combustion engine to electric vehicle. We decided together to join forces and to invest. And when we did that, we went to the government of that country and said, hey, by the way, we are ready to invest that much money. Can you come along? And the government said, sure, I'll contribute because I know the impact is clear. We have a clear target. We're going to make it happen. So I think it's a multi-party. Academia has a role to play. Governments, private companies, all that we need to talk together, because it's fantastic. 40 years.
It's a long time, and we all need to invest ourselves as well. Now, this is the opportunity to raise your questions, and I'll look around the room. Sometimes someone is very keen to get us started, and we do have some people to get us started. How about we'll begin the first row and then move right over?
Thank you very much. I'm Najma from City, Public Affairs as well. My question is around how we're going to measure those soft skills. So we have the skills wallet. What's going to distinguish a resume from another for what is a subjective skill?
That's a very good question, and I think we believe that assessing soft skills is going to be more important as we move forward. And there are methods to assess soft skills. You have lots of tests that can help you guide that. At the end of the day, it's also, and that's what it's great to have humans in the loop, is we believe that nothing really replaces the sort of conversation that managers can have with their teams, or that a recruiter can have with a candidate, to really refine the sort of soft skills that people have or need to grow on. So there are tools that exist. at the end of the day, we believe that it's a connection that will make it happen. What's interesting, you mentioned the resumes. Now that what we see in our recruitment business, we see that now all CVs look alike because they all went through ChatGPT or whatever, and then, so if you put AI on top, you have AI talking to AI, and then, well, you cannot distinguish. Before, you could already tell from the way a resume was framed, it also delivered some information. Now it's like, so what you have to have humans in the loop. Yes, again, right? Particularly on those soft skills.
Fantastic. So far, so good. We have a question right here at the corner, and then we'll go over there.
Thanks for an inspiring talk. My question is about entry-level positions, which are the prime victim of AI. But traditionally, they used to be the way how careers progressed in a company. So people would learn by just taking notes at first, and now there is no need to hire people who just take notes. What's your perspective on that?
That's a very good question. I think it's still early days. I think we haven't figured out how to manage that, because the moment we see the first companies that have said, I no longer need all these entry-level positions, great AI everywhere, and then they say, oh wow, but how can I get the trained people if I don't train them, right? How can I get experience if it's not created? So I think companies will have to create different paths to ensure that this comes up, because then you end up with a gap. So I think all companies are in a learning journey. There's the excitement, and we've seen that some companies go backwards. You probably heard the story of Klarna. Klarna, it's a company in the Nordics that claim, of course, they wanted to go IPO, so they claim, hey, how about that? I've put AI, I am so much more efficient. I don't need people in my call center anymore. Wow, great IPO. At the same time, Teleperformance, which has call center, share price, blank, 30% less, the same day. Well, 6 or 9 months down the road, Klarna came, well, actually, it's not working so well, so I've got to put people back in my call center. Of course, they're with AI, because it's not working. So I think we're going to go through these things where you believe that something is great, and then you see all the disadvantages. And we will have to create path to people to enter into the organization, probably maybe when when companies have better understood what AI does and doesn't. I'm going to give you an example. Our young recruiters were groomed by more experienced recruiters, same thing. So you could say, I don't need the young ones because then I've got AI. No, we know typically that AI cannot do everything. So how do we help the young guys coming in, and precise guys is not gender specific, how do we have the young people just being groomed in a mix of AI, but this has to happen. Otherwise, companies will not. That's not going to work. But it's still early stage, as I said. We discover the consequences of our decisions as we speak, because we don't know.
We see a hand over here.
Thanks, Dennis. I call this kind of a session Insights on Steroids. So yeah, it was wonderful. 2 questions, if I may take the liberty. I'll leave it to your discretion to answer one or both of them. You talked about the 3 imperatives. If I may say, what is the role you see for mindsets in this? Because in the legacy
mindset.
Because in the legacy organization, if I were to archetype, it used to be focused on implementation and improvements, whereas now we need more of integration and innovation, but that's where probably we don't have. So that's one. What do you see the role? Second, in the future, even though you mentioned we might not have AI-driven organization, but yes, that will eventually happen. In the past, we used to have the need for high IQ and EQ, yeah, trust, empathy, and so on and so forth. But you don't need EQ for agents. So what do you see the leadership role changing in the future?
Well, it's interesting because I think we're moving forward, even though you could imagine that the IQ of AI is just incredible, probably. I think leaders will need still IQ to challenge AI. I was mentioning the counterpower to AI. You cannot have a counterpower if you don't understand, if you don't have your own reasoning. So we'll need, moving forward, I'm sure, we'll need this constant balance on IQ and EQ in leaders to, again, being able to interact correctly, make the right decisions with AI coming in. It's just that I think there's going to be a shift on the topics that we're going to be working on interacting. It's true for many, if you look at all the jobs that have been created by digital, it has created new forms of communication, new forms of reaction to social networks, etc. So this has shifted some of our mental competencies and interaction competencies. And I think it's going to be the same. Where is it going to go? I don't know, but I think we'll still need the mix of both. In terms of mindset, I think curiosity, courage. I mean, what we try to do at the Adecco Group is replace fear by knowledge. That means have people knowledgeable of what's happening, because then at least you sort of you're not only you can exercise judgment on what's happening because you're knowledgeable. So this mindset of just go with the flow, try, be courageous. Courage is one of our value, by the way. It is I think necessary. Curiosity is essential. So,
thank you very much. We have the next question right here.
Thank you very much. It's a very inspiring speech indeed, and you very well connect with the public. You said something, AI can make, or must probably make humans more human. I'd like you to dwell a little bit on that, because that sounds to me to be quite a challenge.
Certainly. And I don't want to be the only one to answer that, because we all have, I think, our own stories of how we interact and how we believe we can be real humans. But I think I strongly believe that societies in the world operate properly because there is something bigger than profit. There's something bigger than tomorrow. There's something bigger than me, and that's what has brought the human civilization to where it is today. And that's what I mean by being more humans, is really understanding what we are here for, understanding again what makes us unique. What's our there's something unique about the human relationships. There's something unique about love. There's something unique about friendship. There's something unique about creating something with a team, right? And the pride when you've succeeded to do something difficult with your colleagues or with your friends. That's what humanity is about. There's something bigger than us. There's something bigger than profit. So that's I think, when we need to have at the core of who we are when we reflect about what we have to do about AI. That's the counterpower I was talking about.
Very moving, and as you said, there's going to be more than one answer. In about 2, maximum 3 questions, we'll have to proceed and open the up row, close this lecture. But who wants to join the group of the final 3? We have one person who, with energy, rose their hand, so we shall call upon her, and then we'll move over to the other side.
Hello, Denis. My name is Bianca, and what I saw tonight, and the brilliance that I saw in you tonight, is that a little bit of humor is making everything we're experiencing on the outside at the moment a bit more easy. And I was wondering, you were just talking about this core of the human being. How do you see the only, what I think, essential thing humans can pose for AI, the intuition? How do you see that play out in the new world of work and leadership?
That's a very good question. And you talked about humor. Back to your question, laughing is very human, right? And we have to laugh, you know, because then it's sad. So. Yes, intuition. Intuition is intrinsic to, I think, to human life, and it's intrinsic to leadership, for sure. And this is something that sometimes we have to cultivate. Back to the things that make us, again, humans. I mean, intuition is, you know, it's complex to model intuition. We do not have yet the algorithm, the biological algorithm that creates intuition. We don't know, right? And it's precious. And we have to cultivate that. I think in many ways, again, AI will make us more humans because we will really reflect on what we have to develop. And today, here, in the way academia develops, the way you have your curses for some of you here, or the way we had or the way we develop, it is important to develop these qualities. How do we develop the intuition and encourage intuition for kids? You know, play, invent, and fail. But fail because you've understood that this was coming from intuition. My intuition was wrong here. But my intuition was right here. So those are the things that we really need to encourage. And I must say, the workplace is not the place today where we really stimulate intuition, because we have Excel sheets, we have business plans, you know, we have, I love my shareholders, but we have shareholders who are not about so much about intuition, about how you're going to deliver the next quarter. And if you tell them, well, my intuition in next quarter will be there, and you lose your job the next week, right? So, I mean, this is something, again, that consciousness, the good, again, optimism. And sorry, I'm always too long in my answers, but the optimism that we have is, you know, AI will really push us in these things. And if this doesn't happen, then we are not in a good place. But if we really develop all this is going to be great.
Fantastic. Right there we have our second to last, and then comes our final question. Right here on the left side, the gentleman with the white jumper. Who had his hand up? Sorry.
There's someone up there.
I mistook you. This gentleman, it's perfect.
Hello, my name is John. I'm a student here at the university, and I actually have a question about power dynamics. So the introduction of AI and AI agent will inevitably change the power dynamics within organizations. And my question is to you. Obviously, you're the CEO of Adecco Group. You have a lot of power, I guess. So how do you think?
It's an illusion.
I hope so. So maybe you're the correct address for for my question. So how do you think will the power relations change within organizations? So maybe you will have to share your power in 5 years with an AI agent. So what do you say about that?
Yeah, I think we are already sharing. If I were to be provocative, first of all, power is an illusion. If you imagine the number of things that I would like to happen in the company that don't happen, so. No, we already share some power with some. I love some of our systems, and I can tell you, I share my power with SAP, right? Because when you want to have something and it's just don't get the numbers, right? And I have nothing against SAP, so I think yes, the power will shift. We, I was mentioning our potential, this new startup, and we are creating the next executive committee member who's going to be we call it the chief potential officer. So it's next member of the C-suite. So, and the idea is for this agent to come up with insights and reflection and push the C-suite to reflect on the things that the agent sees in the company and outside. So it's like an advisor, component advisor. That's an example of not fundamentally sharing the power, but somehow, because it brings a different insight and influence. This is gonna come. So back to what I said, the more you know who you are, the more anchored you are in terms of some of the convictions that you want to see happening, the more you are anchored into your humanity, the better you will be able to, again, adjust this power game with technology. Mastering somehow what technology do, or understanding what technology does, but being very clear about what you want to see technology do and not have technology happen to you. But that rapport de force, that power game is there, and it's going to continue big time.
Thank you very much. For our final question, we have a slightly theatrical moment for someone speaking from upstairs. Please ask your question. There is the microphone.
Here's the mic.
The microphone is finally arrived.
Hello, thank you.
There we go.
Spirit of service, huh?
So the Adecco business model is placing the people a company needs now, and you'll deliver them. And you conveyed so much bright ideas here. Can you think about the second profit center in consulting, how your clients could improve the world of work and cooperation in the 30s, 35s, and in the future? Because there's a lot of knowledge you gain, and I think it should be conveyed.
Yeah, and thank you for that. This is certainly a direction that we want to take, at least accompanying our clients. Well, I mean, what we do is, today we intermediate the world of the business with the world of resources. And, that's what we do for most of the time. And then with all the insights that we have on people, their aspiration, etc., we try as much as we do, as we can, to guide our clients in making the right decisions. That's why what I said earlier about some of the things that need to happen in the world of work and in the business is the things that we really advocate extensively with our clients. The imperative of upskilling, reskilling, the anticipation, the strategic workforce management questions are the things that where we believe we bring value, and this is what you could call consulting to a certain extent.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. This does bring us to the end of our Q&A. I am keenly aware that there were more hands up than we were able to call on. I also understand that the report that you cited in your talk is the Global Workforce of the Future Research Report to be released on the 16th of October, so we got a bit of a preview here, and to be downloaded from the adeccogroup.com's website, where you might find also some answers to the question that unfortunately we couldn't address yet. However, you can also hopefully take those questions in a moment to the Lichthof and debate and discuss them with your peers there. Now, some final words from Gabriele Siegert.
Well, this is a difficult task, ladies and gentlemen, to now keep up. Well, just to say that the question about the humans in the loop applies to education institutions as well, to the University of Zurich as well. So we are also dealing heavily with AI in a lot of aspects, and it's keeping us busy. But I would like to mention 3 things where the university is good at, and what you mentioned in your inspiring talk. First of all, we are good at reskilling people. I love reskilling. We have a huge program of further education at the University of Zurich. Try it out. You know, we believe in reskilling and upskilling people. Second is focusing on the impact of our work. We're always focusing on the impact, be it our publications or be it especially the education of the students. This is the most powerful impact, having 900 students in the lecture hall following you and bringing your ideas then to the world. And thirdly, you talked about trust. I will still think, and research approves that education institutions are trusted. The Swiss population trusts in universities and also in universities of applied science. You can trust in us in a lot of things, especially in giving degrees and certifications. And therefore, of course, we have a certification, a certificate of appreciation to Denis Machuel for his inspiring talk and his leadership role. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah.
So you're also reskilling. He's also reskilling.
Yes.
You see
Yes.
that? He lives what he says.
Thank you.
He walks the talk. And I would like to thank you especially, not only for your inspiring talk, but also for giving us humor, hope, and optimism. I think we live in times where we all need that. Thank you very much. And thank you for your participation in this event this evening.